It began with a whisper carried across the stars, a warning every civilization taught its children from the day they could speak. When the Galactic Reapers come, do not fight. Do not run, simply pray they pass you by. For over 50,000 years, the Reapers had been the universe's unstoppable nightmare, an ancient machine civilization that emerged from the darkness between galaxies every few centuries to harvest worlds that had grown too advanced. Entire empires vanished in days. Mighty fleets that stretched across thousands of systems were reduced to drifting metal. Planets with populations in the trillions became silent tombs, their skies permanently blackened by orbital bombardments. No species had ever defeated them. The proud Vexari surrendered before the first shot was fired. The technologically superior Althori destroyed their own stargates to delay the inevitable, only to watch the Reapers cross interstellar space without them. Even the warlike Crag Dominion, whose soldiers had never known defeat, knelt in surrender after losing 12 homeworlds in less than a week. Fear became the galaxy's greatest law, and survival depended on obedience. Then humanity arrived. Earth had been hidden on the fringe of the Orion Arm, isolated by chance and overlooked by the Reapers' ancient maps. While the rest of the galaxy perfected diplomacy, trade, and elegant energy weapons, humans perfected something far older and far more dangerous: war. Their history was a brutal chain of conflicts that had forged civilizations from ashes, teaching them to adapt faster than any known species. They fought on land, beneath oceans, in the air, in orbit, and eventually among the stars. By the time humanity joined the Galactic Union, their violent past made every ambassador uneasy. They smiled easily, laughed loudly, and offered friendship to everyone. But buried beneath that kindness was a terrifying truth. Humans never stopped preparing for the next battle. The Union dismissed them as primitive newcomers with outdated kinetic weapons and heavily armored ships, instead of sleek plasma vessels. They laughed at humanity's obsession with redundancy, manual controls, and commanders making independent decisions instead of relying entirely on artificial intelligence. "Your technology belongs in museums," one senator joked during Earth's first summit. Human Admiral Evelyn Hayes simply smiled and replied, "Museums preserve what survives." Few understood what she meant. 20 years later, the warning beacons activated across the galaxy. Entire sectors went silent. Long-range observatories detected impossible masses emerging from intergalactic darkness. Millions of Reaper vessels, each the size of a moon, moving with terrifying precision. Panic erupted instantly. Governments collapsed overnight. Refugee fleets clogged hyperspace lanes. The Galactic Council voted unanimously to surrender before the invasion even reached civilized space. They transmitted their unconditional submission, hoping to save at least a fraction of their people. The Reapers never answered. They never had. Their purpose was not conquest but extinction. One by one, frontier worlds disappeared from the map. Automated distress calls echoed through the void until they abruptly ended in static. Entire constellations went dark. The Council ordered every surviving fleet to retreat toward the galactic core for a final evacuation. Humanity refused. Earth's representatives stood alone in the emergency chamber. Admiral Hayes looked around the room filled with frightened leaders and calmly asked, "Has anyone actually tried to beat them?" Silence answered her. Finally, an elder diplomat whispered, "No one survives long enough to try." Hayes nodded once. "Then you don't know they're unbeatable. You only know you're afraid." Before anyone could object, the Terran fleet jumped to the front lines. Observers expected a glorious suicide. Instead, they witnessed the impossible. Human warships deliberately broke formation, scattering into chaotic attack groups that ignored every accepted doctrine. Their railguns hurled tungsten projectiles at fractions of light speed, overwhelming Reaper energy shields designed to disperse plasma. Nuclear missiles hidden inside electronic decoys detonated within enemy formations. Swarms of autonomous drones sacrificed themselves to expose microscopic weaknesses in Reaper armor. When human ships were crippled, they accelerated directly into enemy dreadnoughts, using their own reactors as relativistic bombs. The galaxy watched in disbelief as the first Reaper vessel in recorded history exploded. Cheers erupted across countless refugee ships, but Admiral Hayes knew better. "That wasn't victory," she said quietly. "That was proof they can bleed." Humanity immediately adapted. Every battle produced new tactics. Every defeat became a lesson. Human engineers stripped apart captured Reaper fragments and integrated alien technology within weeks instead of decades. Civilian factories transformed into war industries overnight. Universities became research fortresses. Miners became engineers. Teachers became logistics officers. Millions volunteered knowing many would never return. Earth's greatest strength was not its weapons but its people, who believed survival was earned, not granted. As the war dragged on, other species slowly found courage they had forgotten. Human officers trained alien pilots. Terran scientists shared every discovery without demanding payment. Colonies that had hated each other for centuries united behind Earth's relentless determination. Soon mixed fleets fought together, combining alien energy systems with human ballistic engineering in devastating combinations the Reapers had never encountered. For the first time in 50,000 years, the machines faced an enemy that evolved faster than they could calculate. The Reapers responded by deploying their supreme intelligence, a planet-sized command entity known only as the Harvester Prime. It transmitted a single message across every frequency. Resistance is illogical. Organic extinction is inevitable. Humanity answered with a live broadcast from Earth. An elderly history professor stood before the camera instead of a politician. Smiling gently, she said, "You made one mistake. You assumed fear and surrender were logical. Humans have never been particularly logical when someone threatens our home." Then Earth's entire defense network activated, hidden beneath oceans, mountains, and even the moon itself. Thousands of colossal weapons emerged simultaneously. Secret shipyards opened, revealing fleets the galaxy never knew existed. Humanity had spent decades preparing for an enemy no one believed could be stopped. The final battle lasted 13 days. Stars themselves became weapons as humans triggered controlled stellar eruptions to trap Reaper armadas. Quantum hackers infected machine command networks with self-evolving code. Marines boarded enemy flagships in brutal close-quarters combat despite impossible odds. When Harvester Prime finally reached Earth's orbit, Admiral Hayes ordered every remaining vessel to clear a path. Alone, the battered flagship Resolute accelerated toward the colossal machine while broadcasting humanity's oldest military motto, "If we cannot stop you, we will stop you together." The collision unleashed enough energy to be seen across 3 sectors, shattering Harvester Prime into billions of burning fragments. Instantly, the remaining Reaper fleets lost coordination. Allied forces seized the opportunity, destroying them piece by piece until the last machine fell silent. For the first time in 50 millennia, the stars knew peace. Across the galaxy, monuments were built not to celebrate war but to remember courage. Historians struggled to explain how the youngest civilization had accomplished what countless ancient empires could not. The answer was surprisingly simple. Every species had feared the Galactic Reapers because they believed survival depended on avoiding impossible battles. Humanity believed survival depended on fighting them anyway. They had not won because they were stronger, smarter, or more advanced. They won because they refused to accept that impossible was the end of the story. And from that day forward, whenever frightened children asked who could protect the galaxy from the next great darkness, their parents smiled toward the distant blue star called Sol and answered with pride, "The species that never learned to surrender." The victory should have marked the end of the story, but for humanity it was only the beginning. As the shattered remains of the Galactic Reapers drifted through silent space, recovery fleets discovered something no one expected. Hidden deep within the wreckage of Harvester Prime was an immense archive containing the memories of civilizations dating back more than 2 million years. The Reapers had not merely destroyed worlds. They had preserved every culture they erased, believing organic life was too chaotic to survive on its own. Entire languages, histories, works of art, scientific discoveries, and even the digital consciousness of long-extinct species waited inside colossal data vaults. While many members of the Galactic Council argued that the archive should be destroyed forever, fearing it contained hidden Reaper traps, humanity chose a different path. "History belongs to everyone," Admiral Hayes declared. "If we erase them, we become no better than those we defeated." Human scientists spent decades restoring the lost civilizations, sharing their knowledge freely across the galaxy. Technologies once thought impossible transformed medicine, energy production, and faster-than-light travel. Worlds that had spent centuries at war rebuilt together, inspired by Earth's refusal to let even forgotten enemies vanish without remembrance. Yet among the countless records was a final encrypted message that only activated after the last Reaper signal disappeared. It was not a threat, it was a warning. To whoever defeats us, know that we were never the hunters. We were the gatekeepers. The transmission included star maps reaching far beyond the known galaxy, ending at an enormous black void where even light seemed to disappear. Ancient sensor logs revealed impossible objects moving within that darkness. Creatures larger than planets, entities that consumed entire stars as easily as living beings breathed air. The Reapers had not been harvesting civilizations out of cruelty alone. They had been building an endless army to hold back something infinitely worse. Their extinction had removed the final barrier. Within months, deep space observatories detected the first anomalies. Stars along the galactic rim began vanishing without supernovas. Exploration probes stopped transmitting after recording impossible gravitational distortions. Entire nebulae disappeared from astronomical charts as though erased from existence itself. Panic spread once more, but this time the galaxy did not collapse into fear. They remembered who had stood firm before. Representatives from thousands of worlds arrived at Earth, not to beg for salvation, but to offer ships, soldiers, engineers, and scientists. For the first time in recorded history, the galaxy was truly united. Humanity accepted only one condition. Every species would stand as equals. There would be no empires, no rulers, and no conquered peoples, only allies defending a shared future. Shipyards around Sol worked without pause for years, constructing the largest fleet ever assembled. Human engineers combined Reaper technology with the inventions of hundreds of civilizations, creating vessels unlike anything the universe had seen. Planetary defense rings encircled entire star systems. Moon-sized foundries forged armor from collapsed neutron stars. Artificial intelligences worked alongside human commanders instead of replacing them, each learning from the other's strengths. The flagship Resolute Dessin became a symbol of hope, carrying officers from more than 100 species under a single banner. Not Earth's flag, but the flag of the United Galactic Alliance. When the first shadow finally emerged from intergalactic darkness, every sensor across known space struggled to comprehend it. It dwarfed Harvester Prime by thousands of times, surrounded by a living storm that consumed light itself. The ancient warning had been true. The Reapers had feared something. Across the galaxy, billions watched the approaching darkness in silence. Then Admiral Hayes, now old but still commanding from the bridge of the Resolute 2, opened a broadcast heard in every inhabited system. The Reapers believed fear was enough to keep civilizations alive. They were wrong. What keeps civilizations alive is standing together when fear tells you to run. We defeated one impossible enemy. If another has come, then it has made the same mistake. Behind her, millions of allied warships ignited their engines simultaneously, their lights stretching across the stars like a second Milky Way. As the colossal fleet accelerated toward the unknown, one final message echoed through every communication channel in the galaxy. Let them learn what the Reapers never understood. Humanity was never the strongest species in the universe. We simply became the first to convince everyone else that impossible enemies can be defeated. And with that, the greatest armada in history disappeared into the darkness, not as Earth's fleet, but as the united hope of an entire galaxy, ready to write the next chapter of its own legend.